here. Let's continue on with this case. In the past, I've often asked myself if the concept of time is just some man-made cognitive illusion, a fantasy. Something you just free yourself of, and your problems take care of themselves. My book search did not go well. I've had enough time to rummage through many collections because Hermitage was so empty. The ground floor had a large collection of medical and pharmaceutical classics, as well as more obscure works, but I couldn't find anything. The whole concept of a vision, or a dream can be true, is both too special and too vague at the same time. There are many records depicting strange experiences, but most of them are labeled as hallucinations. It's also very hard to verify their authenticity, seeing as they're often just claims without any solid evidence to back them up. There's not much I can do, I'm afraid. It's new already. Now I know more about her situation, I'm able to understand and be of more help this time around. Scylla greets me by bowing her head. Her face still looks pale, but it's a little more flushed than last time. She must feel very relieved to have found someone she can share troubles with. Today is clearly not the right time to sell books. I guess a few thoughts first, might as well. The unhealthy smoke temporarily blocks her view. Scylla knows more than she let on at first. I don't think a student could see the past just like that. I'm afraid it's not that simple. I've talked to her today. And since Charlotte came by, it seems natural to ask about it. She's probably still interested in her search for answers. I'll remind her that now's not the time to hide from this. Okay, so thoughts are not very helpful at all. Oh. I was starting to worry that you weren't coming by today.
I'm sorry, the teacher wanted to talk to me about something.
Oh?
Nothing important, really.
Scylla moves closer to the corner of the room, making herself smaller. She seems really quiet and somewhat uncomfortable. Did you find any clues in the book I gave you? Scylla shakes her head and turns towards me.
The text is very hard to understand. It's ancient. Looks like my language class didn't pay off.
Scylla's tone sounds self-critical. Well, I'm not sure the author didn't write, I'm sure the author didn't write it thinking that one day a high school student would read it. Personally, I wonder if he ever intended for this book to be read.
The writing style is all over the place, and it's very hard to grasp. It's hard to make out specific details. You know a lot more about these things than me. It's just how old texts were written.
I can only shake my head. The way it's written lacks composure and often drifts into incoherent rambling. It's definitely not how you document professional research. Let's talk about the book later. I want to talk about some other issues today.
Is that why you called me?
Because you found something? I'm amazed that she'd start talking about this topic on her own. I deliberately take a deep breath and lean forward a little. Yes, I found quite a bit, and it's scary. This thing is big. There's some things we talk about. Well, a lot of things, actually. I got lucky. Finding out more wasn't that much trouble. As you probably expected, those dreams are definitely out of the ordinary. I have so much evidence now that even you somehow managed to forget about them. I'll be able to convince you, though, of their authenticity.
How did you...
The things you see aren't actual events of the past. I'm sure of that now. Maybe even more sure than you at this point. The big question is, why did you see them? I can understand it's a lot easier to lie a little here and there. I can imagine how you must feel. I never blame you for that. However, you need to be more careful. There might be some people with ulterior motives out there. People who don't care about your well-being. Scylla's face suddenly carries a more serious expression, but there's no sign of confusion in her eyes. She clearly understands what I mean. For me, the answer to this whole thing is still shrouded in mystery. But to her, it seems a lot clearer. All more reason to be completely honest with her. As you know, we're creatures of habit, driven by instinct. Your worrying about your friend's safety was enough to make you come up and ask me for my help, but it didn't really make you understand the situation any better. Something about your reaction to those dreams made me wonder from the very beginning. You asked me to find out more about what's going on with them, but you seem to have taken them for granted, as if they're just something that you regularly experience, something expected. You don't seem to question why you have them. People usually don't have expectations when it comes to their dreams. They're just something that happens, whereas you jump straight into the process of analyzing them and researching their contents. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's always backstory, an explanation. You seem to concentrate. Try to say concrete there for some reason. You seem to concentrate on the flame and take it for granted. But how is it lit? The young girl is completely silent. The argument may not be best, but this is simply about convincing her and appealing to her conscience. I just need to make clear to her that I know what's really going on. That'll get to her to talk eventually. If I'm not mistaken, these dreams appear fairly regularly. You know when they're going to happen. You can somehow even manipulate whether they're going to happen at all. I put further pressure on Salil. Why do they actually appear? What caused them? I need to know that. And I know you're going to live up to my expectation of you and be honest. She knows more than she lets on. The fact that she's interested in the meaning of her dreams, and that she's not at all concerned about the fact that she has these dreams in the first place, makes it obvious that she's hiding something. I'm a little disappointed, to be honest. Salil's trying to avoid eye contact. Her inner struggle takes her so long that I could finish reading a whole history encyclopedia in that time, but in the end, she comes to her senses, just as I expected.
How should I put this? These dreams are connected to something called lilac grass.
She glanced towards the door as if to make sure nobody's listening or watching. Then she pulls out a small blue bag. I've seen these bags in shapes in the street of Bangkok before. You ignite the tip, and it burns slowly to the bottom. However, this one is less compact, as if it was made by hand. It's also quite large, close to the size of an index finger. What's this? Some kind of incense?
Yeah.
I take the incense bag and carefully sniff the bottom. It smells sweet and woody, but I didn't notice a change in my consciousness. Why do you call it lilac grass?
That's what Elise told me it was called. I don't know if there's not a name for it.
Incest and hallucinations? That's the combination that brings quite a few bad stories to mind.
Yeah, I realize that too now, but I didn't think it was a big deal, you know? Plenty of kids carry around these bags around and use them. I never gave it much thought, because it was so widespread. Lilac grass sounds like sort of incense adults would use for essential oil massages. My friend said that when the mind is on edge, this can be very effective. We get along really well, so we often work together or hang out after school.
And Elise never mentioned anything about these dreams?
She only said that the incense has a calming effect, and that it's used to help with stress.
Salil shakes her head and takes the bag from my hands.
We close the classroom window and then light up the incense. It burns for about 10 minutes. It smells very sweet, like a variety of flowers mixed with water and juice, all blended together. The first few times it only gave me a peace of mind. Sounds around me were still clear and my vision wasn't altered or anything. It just washed away my troubles. Made me feel at ease.
So this calming effect was the only thing at first, meaning that dreams only started happening after prolonged use? It's real nods.
I also asked Elise, but she never had any similar dream experience with incense. Maybe everyone responds to it differently, right? I told myself it was nothing to be concerned about. After all, even if there was some horrifying images, they went away as soon as the incense burned up. Just like waking up from a real dream, you know? It's simply over.
I put my cigarette, since smoking seems increasingly harmful right now. So, the incense is the cause of the mysterious dreams. Well, it certainly makes things more strange, but at least now there's a concept for me to grasp.
Sorry, I was just worried. I didn't want to get caught and be considered some kind of druggie.
In the end, there's no different from drug use. You should be smart enough to know that. Trust me. I'm not really kind to preach, but you should really be aware that these things can have all kinds of consequences. The fact that these things you see are real and have actually happened is what worries me the most. It's not just fantasy or your brain chemistry playing tricks on you. This is something much more dangerous. Slow lowers her head. I assume that I got my point across. There's no need to make this even more embarrassing for her, so I decided to move on. It'd be irresponsible for me to investigate this now that we know it's not just fantasy. And you've got your point, you got your own personal reasons to get to the bottom of this too.
My own reasons?
Sela's face is overcome with a sudden flash of sadness, but she quickly regains her focus.
If all those events are real, then I can't just ignore certain dreams.
That's right. Like, well, what happened to your friend Elise? I need more information if you want to get to the bottom of this. Not just about your classmate Elise, your club, your school, and this lilac grass. I need to know more.
Of course. If only for her sake.
It's okay. Cheer up. There are still a few questions I want to ask you. Oh, no more about Elise. Let's do her first. I know it's not easy, but I'd like to talk about Elise again. About what happened to her in your dream. Sela's expression turns to stone. I know it's not easy to talk about it and very personal if you don't want to.
No, it's okay.
Her answer is a mere whisper. Her eyes still reveal some uneasiness and fear, but she seems more composed than she was yesterday.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Sela takes a deep breath, mustering up the courage as much as possible. It seems as if she's been mentally preparing for today. So, can you describe the environment around you again? Yesterday, you didn't really give the clearest description. It was, chaotic, to say the least. Sela lets out a bare laughter.
One thing was totally clear, and that was Elise lying on the ground. It might be because of my own fear, but the surrounding environment was just a big blur. It was a quartz floor. I could see that much. Our building has the same style of floor. The tiles in the hallways and the stairwells.
There's a stairwell up there. This would be in the hallway. Okay.
Her art tools were scattered around everywhere. Stone to the ground, but it was hard to make out the details.
So it's indoors.
I couldn't see any familiar chairs or desks, and the classroom floor is different.
You said there was a lot of blood around her head? Were there any other signs of injury besides that?
There was some slight bruising on her arm, but I couldn't see it very clearly. Her hair covered up a lot of it. One more thing. Her clothes were particularly messy. Something that wouldn't just have fallen on the ground.
It was horrible. The wound is arguably the most direct clue we have. Even without expertise, the average person can conduct a lot from that through common sense. And I can ask some friends who are experts on this matter for help. Overall, the description is way too vague to find out exactly what happened. There's something else. You said you were able to make out a painting? Can you describe it?
I can't recall many details, but the painting's paper was thin and it was torn open. I've seen the painting before, even though I can't remember what was on it. The impression is still imprinted in my mind.
Make a look for it. It might offer similar clues.
I've tried to find it, but, well, that's all we have so far.
Yesterday you said at least frequently gets into arguments and doesn't get along well with others. I'm a little curious. If that's the case, then how did she end up in her position? Sounds like there's a lot of trouble lately, right?
I'm not really sure, but I once overheard two teachers talking.
Oh?
This year changes representations was unusual, but the school had to do it, otherwise it would have had severe consequences.
Sounds like there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
I don't know the teachers that well, so I couldn't just ask them about what exactly happened.
A new representative. A big change like that is bound to leave some traces. Is her suddenly having such an important position the reason that others are having a problem with police?
I don't think that's the real reason. Usually, even if someone they don't like ends up in a representative position, the students aren't really bothered about it. Although it's a nice title, there's a limit to what each representative can do. They basically help teachers send and receive things, and sometimes they attend school meetings to represent the student body. They don't do much else.
I see. So it's really just a fancy title after all.
A few students seem to care and deliberately keep the distance. Usually they're the ones who take the lead on picking classmates. So there's a lot of resentment towards them.
Do they have their eye on you too?
Not right now. I've been avoiding the seniors.
Scylla's expression relaxes a little, and she shows the hint of a smile. Seems like you want things to stay how they are.
If she has my back, will they start to focus on her? I don't want that to happen. She's done more than enough for me already.
You could ask your teachers.
That'll only make things worse.
Her expression is more gloomy.
That day, I stood outside the classroom and heard them arguing about something with the police. I heard someone say that if she overstepped her boundaries, they wouldn't give any credit to the art club at next semester's competition.
It's like a strike then?
I understand it's impossible for a ignore a threat to such an important event.
So it's balancing the act between two sides for her.
I'm sure it's really getting to her. It's clear that there are some problems going on in the background.
Scylla begins to mumble. She's obviously sad and doesn't want to get into this topic any further. So that's about the art club. Okay, tell me about your art club. According to what you said yesterday, the situation at the art club is pretty much powder cake waiting to blow up.
That sounds a little, well, I mean, it's somewhat true. It's tougher than most people would assume. Although the teacher doesn't want to get too involved, he set up strict requirements. The students don't complain about that, though they're used to it.
You think the others might have it out for you because they don't think you're up to par?
I think that could be one of the reasons, yes. They've been giving me strange looks since the very beginning. At least helps me practice. I think if it wasn't for her, both students and teachers would be meaner towards me.
Sounds tough.
I feel pretty confident in my abilities, but now I compare myself to others a lot, and I often doubt my skills.
Being an artist is a profession after all. Sad as it is, you have to gain recognition in those circles first. You're not just quite there yet, and has nothing to do with whether you're good or not. Come to think of it, the greatest irony is the fact that there are standards for art in the first place. Am I getting off topic?
You ought to be nice. There's such a huge skill gap, and that's obvious. I'm far more experienced than the others.
And you think that they're gonna use that against you and force you out of the club then?
That's what it seemed like to me, but things have often calmed down a lot since at least butted heads with them and defended me.
She really seems to go out of her way to help you.
She really does. I just wish I was more courageous.
Squirrel looks sad. Regret and self-blame accompany her words.
all I did was freeze. She stood up for me, a transfer student, and argued with everyone else. I was speechless and did not react. In the end, I just silently left the classroom. I was afraid that I might make things worse by saying something wrong.
So, their attention was on her, and she shouldered the blame?
She told me not to think about it too much, but it still made me feel bad and selfish.
What should I say? If you just go along with it, maybe the conflict will resolve itself. I have no basis for saying that, but your choices aren't all bad either.
Even if I go down that deep, I can't still accept it. For a moment, I saw my friend's eyes go sad.
It must have for her too.
People don't act as reckless towards me as they did before. I'm not saying that like they're like me, but they don't go out of their way to bully me as much anymore.
I don't know if something is as right or wrong. Maybe this isn't the best moment to think about that. Alright, so although there's no tangible evidence, is it safe for me to assume that your dreams are directly related to this use of incense? So I'd like to know more about this lilac grass. When were you first exposed to it? When did you first enter this dream state? Just give me the details from around that time, and anything that happened before, during, and after. Anything that can be useful as a clue. So lowers head and starts pondering, trying to remember something.
I don't know, sometime around September, I think. At the time, Elise was getting into a lot of fights and arguments with others to defend me. I felt so bad seeing her like that, and I blamed myself. I was in a very dark place. Elise approached me one day and told me not to worry so much. That's when she gave me the first of those bags.
So that's when you started using it?
Well, maybe once or twice a week. Although our clubs is always open, Thursday afternoons are fixed recreational time for everyone.
That seems quite excessive.
I don't know if I should say this, but nobody really talks about it, but the weekly use of incense was Elise's idea. She suggested it to the students. She said using it regularly for a period of 2 months would increase everyone's mood and mental performance.
I see. Does she know where the incense comes from?
I've asked that from before, but she said only that her uncle, an expert on Chinese medicine, knows a lot about these things. She says that making incense is a real hassle. The wood has to be soaked in herbal water and then cooked several times before being ground to powder. But the hearts have strange names, so I can't remember any of them.
Still looks frustrated. Don't blame yourself. Let's just look ahead. So, you said that the first hallucination occurred after this prolonged use?
Just over half a month to be exact.
So early October then. But that was a national holiday.
Our school doesn't really give us time off for holidays.
Just smile a little. Not on holidays, it doesn't seem like that bad in comparison to everything else she has going on right now. Time passes by too quickly. We made some progress, but nothing groundbreaking. The hallucinations made first appearances after she started using incense. There's an obvious connection there, but I highly doubt that it could be a mere coincidence. Life factors, as yet unknown, might be involved, but the causal link between the two is unclear. The origin of the incense called lilac grass is unknown, but still explain how to use it. We have no way of finding out how this trend started. Students at that age are easily manipulated and eager to try new things. It's possible that someone spiked the incense and mixed with someone else into it. No one would notice till it's too late. In the years, the use of LSD has become increasingly popular among the underage population. If lilac grass began to spread among students, I would have more access to information, but it would also mean that the situation is getting worse. This could be one example of something bigger going on. Then there's the matter of Salil seeing Elise in her dream. If those dreams are rooted in reality, there might be more to Elise than she lets on. She is, after all, the person supplying Salil with the incense, Sooner or later, Salil will have to confront her and ask about the origins if she wants to find out more details. It's a very serious thing for a student to be physically injured at school. Such events are far more likely to leave a mark than anything else. I feel sorry for Salil, but we should probably take a break. That seems to be all for today. I put my pen and accompany Salil to the door. Salil looks exhausted. She bows politely. By the way, it would be better if you didn't use lilac grass anymore. You don't know exactly where it comes from, so you shouldn't take it lightly.
Well, if Elise asks, I'll make up an excuse.
I don't care a lot about her, but be aware of the fact that she's hiding something. I'll get in touch with you as soon as I find out more. It's up to you to decide whether or not to approach her. I think it's enough for now. We've talked quite a bit.
I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time.
Goodbye. Oh, my initial questions have been answered, but many more have come up, and the whole dynamic of this case is changing. No one's to blame. Small progress is better than no progress, but if this is the pace at which we'll continue moving forward... Anyway, I should share what I found in Scarlet. I decided to ignore my growling empty stomach and go back inside to continue working. So what do we have so far? So what happened to Elise, and what are the lilac grass origins? Okay. I don't think we can answer any of these yet. We probably need to go home and research, but... Alright, let's go to the next stage. Nighttime. Looks like it's gonna start raining any moment. How about some more appropriate weather for once? It's close time. I fumble the key to the front door on the ground and slip into my pocket. An hour and a half of talking, 4 cups of coffee, the perfect recipe for an overactive ladder. Bathroom. It would have been possible to fit in a bathroom anywhere on the ground floor. And at times like this, just a few flights of stairs can seem especially long. What the hell's wrong with today's youth? No one will accuse anyone of bad behavior alone, but unprovoked tact demonstrates the injustice of the world, plain and simple. Salil doesn't seem to be from a rich family. How is it even possible for her to go to Phoenix High? Time to head out. I'll wash my hands and go backstairs. I don't think I'm seeing clearly. I might as well go back and rinse out my eyes. Good evening, sir. Are you alright there? I would have been if you hadn't shown up. I answered loudly from outside the door. I'm sorry. I picked a bad time to visit since you're off work. May I come in? It's really inconvenient to talk like this. The visitor's trench coats and hat are drenched. He seems what? That's not a real word. There's no way that's a real word. I'm looking that up. Just say concerned. Just say he seems unconcerned. Whatever. He seems unconcerned, casually covering a briefcase he's holding in his left hand. He has the same build as me, with an inconspicuous face. Judging by his complexion, he is most likely from Europe, but he doesn't have any prominent features. His composure is malicious, straight, and expressionless. So it's impossible to know what's gone on in his head. I'm afraid that's not a good thing. I need to stop batteries here, give me 1 sec. Interesting, so the game doesn't have a controller disconnected screen. That's... I mean, I guess it's fine, it's not like it matters, but weird. Alright. Let's do it. I'm relieved to see you're still here. Seeing as you're here now, I can't go, so what's up? I want to confirm that you're well. I have a few books that I would like you to sell on my behalf. But I didn't expect you of all people to want to sell your books one day. Well, with my current status, I think you'll be well suited for this assignment. It just makes sense. The statement is so on point that I can't find an excuse to deny it. To be honest, I don't remember where I was then at Strange Guy, but I knew he'd come by. Mostly just to make sure that I was still at the bookstore. After all, this unfriendly person in front of me is the one who offered me a place to hide after that incident. The visitor opens his briefcase, methodically removing book after book from it and places them on my work desk. They're like old volumes, most of which have repackaged with plastic covers. The mountain of books doesn't seem like it would have fitted into that slim leather briefcase. I think we should talk about your definition of a few books. You're trustworthy, and I know you don't want any trouble. You can turn your attention back onto other matters after you sell these books. They're the profit margin you take from these sales up to you. You're not selling books, you're giving them away, friend? I pick up one of them and flip the page to random. Can writing on paper really consider a product? I've always been skeptical of that. Knowledge can never be measured in money, and if a book is purchased for knowledge, then the value doesn't use more than the price tag. I didn't peg you for romantic. I'll go ahead and agree to this, but I won't take anything that's too dangerous. It wouldn't sell anyway. I knew you wouldn't refuse. You could know that for sure. These books come in all sorts of categories, and I give my pursuit of the books to them just out of catalog. Modern poetry collections, newspaper clippings, current political commentary, investigation reports, field notes, yearbooks. Also, you leave me 2 copies of The Story Club. Here, I think some of these books are still, what is it? It's nothing. These aren't bad, I'll keep them for you. This is my work. I close my book in hand to control my facial expressions. That's good. Now that you've taken these off my hands, I shall leave. He picks up his briefcase and turns sharply and faces the door. Did you leave it already? Bailing all the way out the rain? The delivery man ignores my advice. Now that the purpose of my visit is served, there's no need for to take up any more of your time. I'll be in touch again, when the time is right. Good luck. His hat lifts farewell, then disappears outside the store. A cold sweat breaks out of my skin, and my clothes are sticking to my back. I quickly move towards the door and check my surroundings. Nothing. That's only a hallucination. I can't worry about this too much right now. I move my back inside and approach the old books. The former owner of Hermitage made good use of the available space, managing to stuff 3 sets of bookshelves inside. The shelves are categorized by somewhat self-conscious names as S, Ick, and Uberic. So what, It, I, and Super I? Okay. Right, is... I think S is Ick. I'm down myself now. Or sorry, I think S is I, or It. I don't know, because German's weird, because, like, you have... Like, in German, everything that's inanimate isn't just it. You have like masculine and feminine or pronouns for like a bookshelf. I'm trying to think of an example like Dosado. Well, Dosado. I think DOS is neuter, but I don't remember the word for bookshelf. It would be like the bookshelf, which is the female version, or the female pronoun there. It's like you'd call the bookshelf a she, which is weird. Even though, honestly, I think it's in pretty much every language that's not English, where inanimate objects aren't just it. But I digress. Alright. The rooms are quite small. Customers can pick a book anywhere on the ground floor, allow themselves to down a few pages, while enjoying a quiet and private experience. Being entranced by what you're reading can definitely skew your perception of some time. Sitting there, watching the rays of sunlight shimmer through the window, occasionally broken up by the silhouette of a customer walking by, light and darkness interrupted at an irregular interval while time slips away without anyone even noticing. What a great feeling. But today there's no time to relax, enjoy the moment. The guy, he knows something, that's for sure. No matter how much I think about it, I can't remember even telling him about the whole situation to Salil. There are some strange, unfamiliar books among the ones he delivered. No one could have guessed exactly no one could guess what exactly they're about just by checking the title. It was always in a relatively safe space, hidden away from prying eyes. Being able to hide someone in such a big city says a lot about a man's capabilities. He must know a lot of things. He helps me, but I found my suspicions at the very beginning. He had his own agenda, no doubt in that. It's a classic case of too good to be true. There must be some reason as to why he decided to help me. Anyway, if I want to get in trouble, I should check out the books. I approached the bookshelf and placed the newly arrived books in the most inconspicuous spot in the corner. Things are slowly getting back to normal. I should have a look at the first book he gave me. Okay. His store's most interesting section. I put the most important books in the bookcase. It seems the new books are perfect for this section. So what do we got? Codex Serum. Okay. Why is the book description like the book is talking? That's weird. Whatever, alright. A local print of the Codex Serum, the author is unknown. Encyclopedia of pictures and text, it has not been translated. The book contains a large number of explanatory images, but the language is composed of unknown characters that vaguely resemble English and are unreadable. The only thing written in actual English is the title. One page is folded as if to draw attention to it. It shows two people in bed whose bodies are overlapping and bizarrely morphing into a crocodile. Someone used a pencil to add a footnote. Eli, lemma sabachthani. Eli, lemma sabachthani. Sure. An old thread-bound book. The author claims it to be a... I should know that word. I've seen that word, but I've never actually, I don't know. Whatever, it's a Taoist. The paper is very old, and the edges of the text are blurry. Most likely because it was written by hand. The book is often divided into two parts. The first part is about the rise of an upkeeping old Taoist concept called crane view. Detailed description and historical example is given. The second part is written in the form of autobiography. The fangled demon called the Scaled Great One, with horrifying sharp claws, is mentioned. Later on, the author scrambles into the madness surrounding him. The last half of the second part is chaotic and confusing, lacks any sort of coherence and logic. A lot of numbers are jumbled into the text. The last sentence that makes any sense is, "The skies, as well as the earth, are dark and treacherous, an ancient mystery we mustn't look at, for the scaled Great One looks back at us." What follows is a chaotic sequence of numbers: 15541312. And that was important for some reason. A hardcover written by Hong Kwan. Judged from the obvious craftsmanship demonstrated in making the book, it's definitely rare and wasn't printed in a factory. It's a complication of old historical folktales. The book records a large number of instances of cannibalism from ancient times up to the modern Republic of China. Most of it based on hearsay, with very little actual evidence provided by the author. The book specifically mentions that there were more than a dozen cannibal villages along the southern coast, but they were either disbanded or its inhabitants were killed in shipwrecks. Okay. A paperback rebound and a white cover featuring only the title of the book. There is a little bit of dirt in some pages, but there are no signs of wear or tear. It's apparent that the original owner meticulously maintained the book and kept it in great condition. Judging by the way of writing, it's safe to assume that the book was written during the time of the Republic of China. The book contains a large number of strange medicinal recipes that are used to make flesh from bone and raise the dead. Each text further described the application of the Chinese recipes, while foreign recipes were reinterpreted by the author in broken English. In a chapter called Spirit Fragmentation, the author mentions a recipe for a powder derived by a formula discovered by the famous Taoist Lazuai. Supposedly, it can move your soul, show you another path, and return the years lost to you, long lost to you. The power doesn't appear in China. The book states that it was spread by travelers from Southeast Asia and still exists today. And that was also relevant somehow. Alright, a hardcover that has never been translated. The author is unknown. The book seems unusual, and is most likely from abroad. It's written in English. The title roughly translates to Greek magical papyri. The texts included contain most experts related to mysterious rituals and magic spells in ancient Greek ruins. The author added illustrations and spells to these rituals to make them more accessible. A part of the book called Jesus. Aphrodite's Blessing of Luck and Love includes several pieces of old parchment paper, which describe in detail how a certain pattern needs to be painted on a stone tablet in order to complete the ritual. Reprinted in 2005, the book was carefully bound in thick paper. The book used common specifications of domestic textbooks, and the table of contents indicates that it's a textbook for landscape architecture, focusing on the style, layout, and cultural background of mausoleum architecture from around the world. However, depicting from the table of contents, most parts of the book relate to a large mausoleum located in a place called the Land of the Nine Evils. According to the book, the Quinchisang Mausoleum, you're just putting random letters here at this point, belonged to an emperor named Quinchisang. But it does not have to include further references and information about the emperor's age, time, and deeds. The book uses the behavior of crustaceans as an analogy to construct processes of the mausoleum and includes a list of all the different types of craftsmen at work. According to the book, the sky turned red. Heavy rain plowed through the pitch-black soil, and the mausoleum became a tomb. And I think that's all of them. Okay. That's really... I can't help but sigh. It takes a minute, but the progress I've made in the last few days irritates me that I took someone else's help to get to this point. My eyes are strained focusing in such bad lighting conditions. I placed the books in a column marked not for sale, borrowing only. The man is impossible to analyze. I should really handle things carefully until I know more about what his intentions are. What? I'm just flashed a light and he said, So it's still just these three. Do you have more clues? We do. I have no idea how they're relevant in any possible way. I guess we'll go through the thoughts. I should quit smoking or my brain cells die soon too. He must come prepared. In just 2 days, the overlapping coincidences has increased so much that I can no longer ignore it. There are a lot of dangerous information in those books that can't be allowed to fall into the wrong hands, so how ignorant do you have to be just to hand him over like that? What's his goal? Now isn't time to dwell on too much. I accept things for what they are at the moment. Okay, so thoughts are worthless. Good enough. Before I can settle in my chair, the phone in my pocket starts ringing. Alright.
Phoenix High absolutely has a problem. I went to their management to check their records. It's pure chaos. Just mountains upon mountains of paper. In addition, the Young Artists Association has submitted several requests to the Department of Education. There have been 17 requests in March alone.
Well, we missed something really important. That's way too much correspondence with such a regular topic. Do you have any more details?
No, not at the moment, no. I have a look at a list of files later. Also, I've been meeting up with some old friends from the department. It's more convenient to go through the filing cabinets at night.
That method sounds unofficial.
So you got a better idea?
Nah, just, your way's best.
Hey, do me a favor.
Of course, anything you need.
Let's leave it at that then. Let's talk about the thing tomorrow morning if you have time.
You mean the files?
Yeah. I'll update you on what I can find and figure out the rest then.
What's the hurry?
You can't go out anyway, so you'll be my advisor.
No problem. I'll have a look at everything tomorrow morning.
Okay, talk to you then.
The president of the Elite Art Club is right. Phoenix High School isn't as perfect as its long-standing reputation makes it out to be. According to Scarlett, there are some incidents at the beginning of the year that attracted the attention of the Department of Education and even prompted for calls for disciplinary action. Even the Young Artists Association is involved in this. So the bad atmosphere at Solilo's art club could be related to this. Does what she saw actually have something to do with the accidents or the incidents? Since we made an appointment to meet up tomorrow, I shouldn't schedule it. Something about that guy doesn't seem right. If it were anybody else, I could talk myself into thinking it was a coincidence. But every move this guy in a trench coat makes seems suspicious. Next time I come to the store, maybe I should try making a joke or something. It's easier to seem passive and pretend not to suspect anything at all. I should accept his good intentions for now and see what happens. Alright. I think let's do the tea first again. Oh. So it's not the NES program. Okay. How are things Phoenix High School? The main focus of discussion strikes me as strange. However, at least it confirms that school is far from perfect. I saw a news section about bullying yesterday, and grew a little concerned. My relative's daughter studies at Phoenix High School. We used to be quite close, but she has stopped talking to me over the last 2 years. It may have something to do with the fact that she spends most of the time in school, and we have few opportunities to see each other. Do you have friends or family who are familiar with this kind of situation? Every now and then, I feel there might be something might have happened. I might be a little worried.
Isn't that a private school? I hear it's pretty common occurrence there.
I'm not gonna read all these, but suspicion reported. Pretty close to high school. Blah 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 blah. Money beats breeds arrogance meme.jpg. Nice. I think Juliet means that she's like a sister to her. Anyway, what do you have to do with a relative's daughter? What? Wait. Oh, she's Juliet. Okay, never mind. Okay. Many people thought it wasn't fitting to play a British tune, so they asked for it to be changed. Okay. Again, no doubt that's relevant, but... well, maybe it could be, because... Slil did hear something ringing, so this could be that. Alright, but yeah, that's everything new in the internet board. Doesn't look like I can do that yet. Alright. Has anything changed here? Kind of. Not a whole lot, though. Okay. Alright, let's go on to the next day. The drowsiness finally fades away, and the girl takes a slow, deep breath as she returns to the room. The feeling of being back on solid ground weighs heavy in her stomach, but the girl is able to hide it for now. Are you sure we're doing this right? Her small frame leans against the wall for balance, and she still seems a little confused. She struggles to control her expression and makes herself look a little more determined. It's hard for you two. Even just wanting to catch the fish or fresh air at the school comes at a cost. At least the incense gives you some peace of mind, she thinks. But she can't say that out loud. You look out for me. I'm used to pranks, and I don't want a close friend like you to suffer. If you can keep up with it, they'll just keep on doing it. I'm worried about you. If you don't hold on until next year, it'll all be for nothing. Is the competition really that important? There's no use in making noise and attracting attention now, is there? We need absolute proof, and until we have it, we just have to stay put. I know I'm still a little... Besides, I want to spend more time with you. Those words make both of their faces blushed a little.
Speaking of which, your birthday's coming up soon, right?
Finally, one of them breaks silence. The light is dim, and she can't make out more than a faint glow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't tell if that's supposed to be dialogue or not. Because it seems like it is, but it's not written in the dialogue box.
Or there's not a question mark name on it, so it's weird. But regardless, a bright smile breaks the awkward tension in the room.
Yeah, because like it is written in a dialogue box, but it doesn't have a name on it.
So I don't even know what kind of voice to give the person. I mean, I assume it's gonna be Elise, but oh well. I'm sorry I'm preparing for your birthday, but
No, that's not your fault. I didn't want to tell you my birthday was. Anyway, I hope you look forward to your birthday present.
a surprise. She immediately starts wondering about what it could possibly be.
See, because there, it's not
actually her talking, so I have no idea.
about that. If I ask you a question, will you answer truthfully?
Sure, what is it?
It's really simple.
She stands up, approaches her, looking straight in her eyes.
Are you really doing all this for my sake?
The girl turns around and hugs herself. Even in the hallucination, the spark between the eyes is a mystery that she has never quite managed to understand. Walking the same path has turned into somewhat of a shared obsession, buried deep within. The last glimpse made her shiver. It's like dancing on the tip of a knife. I have to wait longer for Scarlet.
I had a little too much drink last night.
She crawls in the store with a weary expression, as if she were close to death. Well there, looks like you're hogging all the bottles and didn't leave any for your drinking buddies. As she comes closer, I catch a whiff of her makeup. Stay up late's inexcusable. But I don't think it makes that much sense that she used that much makeup to cover up the bags in her eyes. Seeing my expression, Scarlet leans grumpily against the bookcase.
I spend many of my days and nights drowning in wine while putting on a fake smile, all thanks to gathered small tidbits of information from the people in charge. And this is the thanks I get.
I rub my nose, embarrassed. As always, you can count on such a critical moment. She gives me a satisfied, victorious smirk, like a child who has the upper hand in an argument. Doesn't look like she's gonna change her habits anytime soon. So, what did you find out yesterday?
It's actually kind of difficult. As I mentioned yesterday, the Department of Education, the Associate of Young Artists, and Phoenix High School communicated a lot last semester. The correspondence between them has been unusually frequent. Generally speaking, the school itself can imitate administrative penalty sanctions against a student. The administrative bodies outside school do not usually interfere, as long as everything's in line with school rules and regulations. Superiors getting involved is the process. In this process is somewhat of a taboo, as it would imply that the school was doing something wrong.
But this time it's different?
Yes. In this case, sanctions were withdrawn multiple times.
I can't help but swallow, even though my mind is as dry as a desert. Jesus, is it? Alright.
And the interior of the initiator. And the initiator of the sanction wasn't even Phoenix High School. It was just a substitute.
Is that even allowed? This school has to follow certain rules and regulations after all.
That's exactly the point.
She takes out a stack of papers that appear to be confidential documents. They have various headlines, but the words withdrawn. Withdrawal, not withdrawn, just withdrawal. Withdrawal. Withdrawal?
Who says withdrawal?
Withdrawal. I mean, yeah, I guess, but However, it's not a US game. I need to get used to different dialects. Alright. The words withdrawal and notification appear, often stick out like a sore thumb. In March, the Young Artists Association repeatedly asked authorities to mark Phoenix High School and take disciplinary action against students, but they always withdrew their requests. It's a constant back and forth. They withdraw the request, then make a new recommendation, and so on. A classic delaying tactic. So the Young Artists Association keeps pressuring Phoenix High School to take disciplinary action, but this is being hindered by the bureaucratic obstacles. It isn't only this association. Many other schools, universities, and institutions are involved as well, which makes this hard to fathom. So it's public outrage? It would be hard for anyone to stand their ground with a spectacle like this. Then again, the whole situation says a lot. Two things in particular seem strange to me. What could students at Phoenix High School have done to get everyone so riled up? Scarlet doesn't seem surprised. It's a very obvious question. She shoves her forehead and starts explaining the situation to me. The Young Artists Association focuses on industry changes that are mainly active in nearby provinces, and usually aren't in contact with regular universities. If they do not get in contact, it's because of the annual competition. That one that caused so much controversy last year. So you've done your homework. You're right, it was a pretty big thing last year. A watercolor piece called Blossoms made first place in the painting category, but turns out the artist Lily actually took credit for someone else's work. You mean she put her own name on someone else's work and submitted it? That reminds me of a saying I heard once. Borrowed flowers wither fast. If the piece wouldn't have won the competition, it wouldn't have caused that much of a scandal. But instead, it was exactly the type of animation certain parties need to apply pressure to schools and make demands. The other participating schools were just as eager to win, and wouldn't have let something like that slide. Scarlet nods. Although it's unclear how the lie was uncovered in the first place, these documents show that there is a strong desire for disciplinary action, giving them more than enough reason to demand a rerun of the competition. Actually, that seems to be the goal. People love to hand out punishments as long as you're on the receiving end. The organizers, as well as the participants, are applying pressure, so it looks like it's a done deal. The display action eventually revoked, but they reevaluated the award, and was it possible for Phoenix High to maintain its ranking? That sounds plausible. So, Lily's a member of the art club. That's right. She was the president before at least took over her position. I see. If the club president gets in trouble like that, it reflects badly on other students. That must have led to a lot of tension between them. Probably. A roof wouldn't hold its foundation if crumbling after all. With the last student representative involved in a scandal, it's becoming increasingly more important to find out exactly what's going on behind the scenes of that art club. You're absolutely right. Which is why I'll be going to Phoenix High School this afternoon. What? I should get some more cigarettes. Luckily, I'm not the one of those bookstore owners who's have a drink. What? Luckily enough, I'm not the one of those bookstore owners who have a habit of drinking a lot of tea, or else I would have spat out a geyser just now. I mean, I get what it's trying to say, but okay. Isn't that a little too drastic? How would someone her age blend into a school? I can see Scarlet shooting me a smug look behind her glasses. How a talented actor to play the role of a mother. This is the first time I've seen someone being so proud of their age like that. I can try and help, but I can't guarantee the outcome. What makes you think I need your help? I've got this. She pushes me back a big hardcover What? She helps me push back a big hardcover book that was about to squeeze its way out of the bookshelf. There's just so much filler text. Just so much of it. While I was doing research yesterday, I decided that I just had to check this whole thing for myself. This is somewhat big, isn't it? This simple matter of fraud could have so many twists and turns. It's important to get to the bottom of it and uncover what the skull's hiding. That seems to be Scarlett's main goal. You should be fine. What with your amazing acting skills, boy sketch. You might not be able to tell from the outside school, but I had a hard time dealing with their administration at first. So I did some digging online and managed to find a lead on a couple of social media platforms. All you have to do is look for a verified account with a real name of authentication and check the list of users to follow it. It's really that simple. I have a hard time following what you're saying. Anyway, here's how we should proceed. Nothing new there. Thoughts are worthless. I guess go to the next stage. It didn't take Scarlett much effort to get into school. Working at a public institution taught Scarlett just how fragile the barriers actually are, and how easy they are to overcome. Whereas in TV dramas, it's the system itself that's the obstacle. The best approach is to trick people in charge of upholding barriers. Real life's a lot less action-packed than the TV dramas, and the key is to not draw unnecessary attention. The plan is very simple and old school. Pretend to be a parent and make up some student's name on the fly. Checking in the front gate is the first hurdle that's to be overcome when entering the school. Visitors have registers so they can easily be contacted should any problems arise. Those two things are checked: the visitor's identity and the reason for the visit. This is done in hopes of avoiding problems in the first place, instead of having to do damage control afterwards. Scarlett, forthcoming, shows Scarlett the door ID and jots down her phone number. Her behavior makes the doorman feel at ease and not suspecting anything. Sure, there are a lot of rules in the first place, but nobody follows them to the letter. It's easy to take advantage like that. Scarlett experienced that and the time again over the course of her professional career. So taking this small hurdle is like second nature to her. Wow, this place is huge. Along the way, she has a look at the dormitories and classroom buildings. It's bizarre to see how much money parents are willing to invest in a child's education. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but they're not doing it for the sake of the kids' futures, but for the social prestige that comes to being associated with a school like this. The club building is the furthest from the school gate. Red tiles cover exterior. The art club is on the second floor and accompanies a large classroom at the middle of the corridor. Scarlett chose this particular time because most social events and activities are scheduled in the afternoon. Only 2 students are in the classroom. Scarlett made preparations from the day before, or else the classroom would have been completely empty and she would have returned from this investigation empty-handed. I'm in position, I'm ready to go. Don't you dare leave me hanging here. She's directly connected to the store manager, who's far away in another corner of the city. These types of technological advances have made investigations so much easier than they used to be back in the day. After sending a message, Scarlett uses her phone and provides a mirror check or reflection. Slightly dark circles under her eyes, not quite perfect, just the way she wanted. Everything's ready. Hello there. I was hoping I'd have to wait for you too long. The 2 students look startled and quickly put away their tools. It's unclear what they're planning to do with the screwdriver that was lying at the edge of the desk a moment ago. Scarlett pretends that she just didn't see anything. Try the good voice I want to get these guys.
Are you the person that I spoke to yesterday, miss?
Yes, indeed. I was worried you wouldn't take it seriously.
No, of course, are you kidding? If the association's doing a follow-up investigation, we'll cooperate. And, we didn't tell the teachers, just as you asked. This stays between us.
Despite the final section being withdrawn, Phoenix High School received a stern warning by the Youth Arts Association. Pretending to be employed at the association, Scarlett secretly contacted two students from the art club to question a person. It might cause suspicion later on, but for now, our cover seems to be holding up. Scarlett is immersed in a role, intent on maintaining her fake identity.
I will inform you that your school, again, after investigation is complete. Don't worry. Well, the competition.
The long-haired girl seems a little anxious, and her classmate quietly pulls on her sleeve.
Needless to say, your help is appreciated. I owe you a favor.
Scarlett notices both the girls' eyes flash out at this. Time to take a break and loosen. Time to break the ice to loosen these two up a little.
You see, I have a daughter, and she wants to transfer Pink Side too. She likes to draw, and she expressed a lot of interest in community activities here. I came here today to talk to you two about the situation, and to find out a little more about the art club my daughter keeps talking about. Are there activities scheduled for today? May I sneak a peek? I mean, sure, but they're in the afternoon. Oh gosh, that's too bad. My migraine always flares up in the afternoon. Most activities are scheduled for the afternoon, lady. That's how it works.
Lady? Scarlett keeps herself from raising her eyebrows at this. She maintains her composure and steers the conversation back in the right direction.
I see. Too bad. I would have liked to have seen it for myself. Anyway, let's get back to the point then, shall we?
The two of them look around at each other and nod. Time to get this investigation started for real. Scarlett takes out her phone and pretends to open a notepad app.
Let's see. There are a few things I'd like to know.
Oh, it's finally started. By now, Scarlett has probably met the students she established contact with. This could lead to a whole world of trouble afterwards, but hey, dress times, dress measures. Her piece has not been discovered, and it looks like everything is going according to plan for now. Alright, here we go. What should I ask them then? Okay, I'm thinking 1, 2, 4, 3. I could do 1, 4, 3, 2. I don't think it honestly matters, but...
So, how many events do you organize per week? Well, there are 2 activity sessions per week, both of them in the afternoon. However, our studios are open and free to use until school ends. If someone happens to have a free period, they can just drop by and use the classroom, as long as they clean up after themselves.
Oh, so much freedom. Seems like Mr. Tran really trusts you. Scarlett seeks the teacher's name to further establish her credibility. Seems like she's on the right track.
That being said, students rarely take advantage of that. After all, everyone has class in the morning, and in the afternoon, there are only a few. Not to students stick around.
So how are things going?
So how are things going? You've probably started preparing for this year's competition by now. Oh, we take things a little slow. It's pretty relaxed. We're still students after all. The teacher doesn't pressure us too much. We're just practicing our skills. The usual stuff. The subject matter is all up to us. We can draw whatever we want.
The students' shallow words are most likely supposed to reinforce the image of a relaxed atmosphere within the art club. However, one look at the excessive amount of canvases and turpents lying around is enough to see that this is the charade.
I know it seems strange for someone in my position to say this, but even with all the problems last year,
our association still has high hopes for your school this year.
It's okay. You're just doing your job, right? The teacher doesn't want to take the initiative when it comes to take care of us, but whenever we seek advice, he's always there. Don't worry, we'll win this year for sure.
The confidence seems fake. If anything, they both seem indifferent when it comes to the competition. The students' words sound like those of a winner, even though there's a clear lack of motivation. Scarlet tries to at least stretch to get to her.
Well then, I'm looking forward to it.
How's your classmate, Lily? Have you heard from her? It's very obvious, but Lily's entry in the competition was a pretty dark moment in Phoenix Science history. What is the relationship to the former president like? Scarlet isn't sure if she's subject to these two students. Let's try to push for answers, as you can hold back. High risk, high reward. The girls exchanged a look.
Damn, I don't mean anything by it. It seems as if you're reluctant to talk to about it right now. I just want to understand the situation a little better. That way, I can judge if the association's way of handling your school is appropriate. We don't really know much about the circumstances. She just stopped coming to the club during midterms last semester. I don't think you said something about preparing for exams at home. I remember that. There was probably her option about the whole fiasco. After being exposed as a cheat, she couldn't just stay in the club as if nothing ever happened. Her family probably came up with some excuse to switch her to homeschooling. You think so? Her family has a lot of influence, I'm sure of it. If we ever asked for something like that, the school would refuse in a heartbeat.
The long-haired student unconsciously touched her neck with a typical nervousness gesture in people's eye. The other student seems more sincere, never shying away from eye contact. Scarlet.
So, what happened?
It looks like Leia is off to school, but things aren't as simple as these two make out to be. Scarlet takes mental notice of what she said. I'm sorry to ask this, but how are the relationships within the club? How's everyone getting along? After all, with all that happened last semester, it must be tough, right?
I mean, yeah, we're doing really well. It didn't affect us.
Oh. The girl's eyes are blinking rapidly, unconsciously wandering off to the corner of the classroom. Scarlet doesn't know exactly what they're hiding, but her statement just somehow sounded insincere. The other girl picks up the conversation again.
Yeah, we even hold small competitions here. It's fun.
She points to a corner of the studio where a number of paintings are displayed. They show how high-level talent is around here. Many different styles and techniques were applied to these paintings. And they can easily keep up with the works many grown-up artists today.
Wow, that's impressive.
Scarlet's attention is focused on one painting in particular, and this is probably in the painting that, Elise crashed through, or whatever. Maybe not. Oh, find out, I guess. Even among the many other impressive pieces, this one stands out. This whole picture is filled with clouds of flame that burn towards the top of the frame. Scorched earth conveys a feeling of gloom, but a single flower can be seen. Although it completely looks out of place, its radiant beauty overshadows everything else. The eye is automatically drawn to it. The earth spreads out like an ocean beneath the flower. The ink on the paper wasn't exactly applied neatly, but the delicate composition of all of it turns into a breathtaking piece of art. Just looking at the painting, Scarlet actually feels like she's on top of a mountain, overlooking the sprawling landscape below her. There's so much to take in. The word blossoms is written across the canvas. She may have recognized the name, having seen it dozens and dozens of documents already. It's the painting that won last year's competition, the root of all the controversy.
We didn't know until after the competition was over that the president had prepared this painting this painting last year. That caught Scarlett's attention. The two of them wouldn't continue to refer to this former student representative, I can't say representative, to the former student representative as the president in front of an association member. Not after everything had happened. Plus, the store manager mentioned that the current representative, Elise, is the main cause of Saleel's concerns. This is the first time I've seen it, and to be honest, the level of quality students your age delivers nowadays. I mean, it's really nothing special. To tell you the truth, when we were startled when we first saw it. It's hard to fathom. I'd never even heard of this painting technique before. Well, I'm not really an expert, but this painting is on professional level, right? Oh, what's this? The bottom left corner of the painting has been ripped. Although it hasn't been glued back together, it's still noticeable if you pay attention. Oh, that. There was an accident when we were hanging it up. We mended it, so just be careful not to touch it. So, that's happened. Oh, so that's happened. That's too bad. Your new representative must be quite popular, right? It's an important position after all. Yeah, she's totally awesome. I admire so much to her. Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Talent like that is rare, isn't it? Their lies cannot be any more obvious. They're trying to cover up something. The girl with the short hair hesitates after every word. Scarlett bites her tongue. She can be sure whether the two respect the president, but the use of superlatives like that make it obvious that they don't mean what they're saying. It's not heartfelt. I mean, yeah, like, the president did distance herself while she was preparing that painting. That was, like, a little scary, to be honest. But it's much better now. She's just overly focused sometimes. Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't want anyone disturbing me while I'm doing my homework either. One best performance. It's painful how comfortable they are about to talk about this topic. People who live in their own little world. I lost the voice. People who live in their own little world can often seem distant like that. That's probably why so many geniuses are withdrawn. I know people like that too. You shouldn't take it all too seriously. Scarlett takes a amount of notes and prepare, and the conversation comes to an end. Come to think of it, some club members have graduated since last year, and you have a new representative. I will never be able to say that word correctly. I mean, yeah, that's right. I hear there's a lot going on. Oh, really? There are a lot of rumors around concerning the change of of personnel, but things have been quiet since then. We're lucky to found new representatives so quickly. We're going to take our chances here and try to win for real this time. That's good to hear. Were there any additional measures taken? I'm sure a lot of pressure has been put on your school to make things run smooth this time. I don't really know if I described them as measures. What are you referring to? I'm talking about the membership requirements, administration criteria, you know. Although I'm not sure that's what you wanted to know. Yeah, sure, tell me more. Well, it's not as big of a thing, really. The school's been trying to keep the clubs active for a long time now. This semester, many clubs no longer have assessment tests or as a requirement to join up. As long as students won't participate, the clubs are obliged to accept the application. Everyone was really busy at the beginning of the year, and when the time came, this term's recruitment period was already over, meaning that our club wasn't really affected by this change. There's only one exception. A transfer student was accepted immediately after handing in her application. The teachers are probably patting themselves on the back for finding such a good role model. Hey, watch it! What's wrong with the transfer student? Sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. Those situations got everyone a little anxious and uncomfortable at the start of the term. Sounds like you... Do you want to die? Sounds like you don't have it easy. Such a decision has been community vote. But maybe I'm just being idealistic. Sometimes it's respectable that you don't think that way even after dealing with the schools in our city for such a long time. Well, but the longer you're in business, the more you just want things to go smoothly. That would save me trips like this in the future. If I had a choice, I would stay at home on my couch watch TV. The girl smiled at Scarlet. Her casual tone symbols seems to resonate with them. Scarlet asked students some irrelevant questions, well, to be more believable. She was good at playing her role. She's so good at playing her role that for a second she actually believes she's working for the association and full embraces her fake identity. The two students don't expect a thing. After this long conversation, they part ways. A familiar voice is issues from the small phone that she's carrying in her pocket. Done. I think it's all for today. Well done. Looks like you've still got it. I hadn't expected it. Well, like a certain someone, I actually leave the house every once in a while. I mean, I'm perfectly capable of handling social interactions. Anyway, did you at least get something interesting out of it? After having me do all this work? Oh yeah, most definitely. It's all quite interesting, even strange. You mean their attitude towards former student representative? It's more than that. Lily leaving the school raises questions itself. Do you think those two can be trusted? Yes. Their eyes didn't lie. It's obvious that they're hiding something. But the things they did talk about were true. Scarlet sounds hesitant. What's bothering you so much? Do you think something's wrong? It's the timing of when Lily left school. We don't really know about the specific circumstances. She stopped coming to the club during midterms last semester. I think she said something about preparing for exams at home. I tried to call the information Sue provided. Every February, the UK Cup is the only thing anyone talks about in Phoenix High. We always score well in the competition. The UK Cup starts to begin every semester. Everyone's in full-on working mode and wants to win. Do you remember the dates on the documents from the Department of Education? They were also timed between March and April. Scarlet replies quickly, which shows that she's keeping up. Generally, midterm exams are conducted the 2 months after the start of the school year, which from the end of April to the beginning of May. And all requests were reviewed over a month ago, which suggests that they received a reply by then. Leaving aside the fact that all disciplinary sanctions from the Young Arts Association were eventually withdrawn, even if they did produce any results, there should be a response before the midterm. Copying someone else's work, only to suddenly drop everything a month later, seemed strange. Things aren't as simple as they seem. Yeah, something seems foul here. The school seems less and less like the image it's trying to uphold. Unrealistic expectations and a yearning for prestige recognition, but Phoenix High School isn't all it's hyped out to be. We stumbled upon something big, that's for sure. But we shouldn't focus on the whole thing with Scylla first? Of course. Which is why we need all information. Scylla's been struggling with that vision of police. At this point, we probably know more about it than she does. That's one of the advantages of being an outsider, where I know that Scylla has visions of past events, when she's under the influence of incense. Meaning, at least lying on the ground in a pool of blood is something that already happened. Scylla wants to know the circumstances of this incident, and now we've found something that may be connected to Elise. Further details are coming to light, and everything seems to connect it somehow.
This should help us find out whatever tragedy it was that befell Elise.
At least we have some to work with now. We got lucky.
It's hard to tell if you don't believe it, but in this case, we know something's wrong. From what we know so far, the art competition was the big incident that kicked off everything.
Two student representatives must have had a lot of contact in the past.
Who knows? Maybe there's something else we can dig up.
Speaking of which, I have an idea.
No?
One of two students I met today seems to be using the same ID online all the time. Couldn't hurt to snoop around a little.
Sounds like something I could work with.
I'm afraid it's off for today. I'll have to get back to the office or boss out my head. I'll send you an ID later. I need to find a way out of school first.
A little while back, blogs and online diaries were very popular. That's changed quite rapidly ever since social media sites have started spreading online like wildfire. If those students were hiding something, they might slip up and leave some kind of trail online. Social media. For me, it's a good thing. I can do huge chunks of my work without having to leave the confines of my cozy abode. My computer is on the ground floor, and I'm not really in a hurry. Needing my neck shoulders and shoulders, which are stiff from holding the phone, I resume the organization of my books. Even with the current situation and its slew problems, the world kept turning relentlessly. Tales from the Vanetta Woods can be heard across the street. The guy who owns the tobacco and liquor store seems to be a man of music tastes. I assume Salil would have stopped by the store by now, but then again, Phoenix High School is quite far away. Still nothing. I better send her a message tonight and find out what's going on, just to be on the safe side. Other than that, it's typical Wednesday. Although I've seen only a few people around. A mother, a son, two middle-aged men, a young guy with a heavy interest in the French Revolution. Is today a public holiday or something? The concept has been long lost to me. In any case, the day has come to an end, and there isn't much point in staying open. I should call it a day. After getting out a big yawn, I grab a few books and begin my nightly routine. Okay, so this is a student of some sorts. I'm gonna guess this is Elise.
Sorry to bother you.
Someone standing in the doorway. I freeze. A long-haired girl in a Phoenix High uniform is standing in front of me. Like I said, Phoenix High is quite far away from the store. I have never been the type to believe coincidences. There's complete silence. She doesn't waste time and walks straight towards the desk. She is well-mannered and keeping her feet from making too much noise on the quartz floor. Her demeanor is calm, but she gives off a mysterious aurora. It's as if the lights can go only around her. It's not her clothes. She's meticulously dressed in a slightly faded but very tidy school uniform. Nor is it because of her appearance. She has good posture and maintains a polite, albeit small smile. Something about her immediately grabs my attention. Welcome. Most of my books here are ready to buy. We don't have any in stock in the back, so just bring the ones interested straight to the counter. She walks me while I'm speaking. She confidently looks me in the eye, her long hair floating behind her like a curtain.
Hello. I am looking for a book.
Yes, of course. What kind of book are you looking for?
Is it okay if I only have the title?
What's the name of the book?
The Trail of the Missing Fish.
I have a hard time playing it cool and break on a cold sweat.
I hear you carry many books that are quite unique and cannot be found anywhere else.
That's true. It's a shame, really. Your time is unfortunate. It is acquired by someone just recently. The girl smiles calmly.
I see. This mystery is easy enough to solve.
She moves a little closer and calmly, as if to signal that everything's under control.
Your time is precious, so please, allow me to ask you directly. Did a girl named Salil get it?
I try to keep my expression as neutral as possible. It would be wise to lie. That she mentioned Salil's name must mean that she knows something. I don't know how much she knows, or in what Salil told her. Salil still hasn't called. I should play it safe. Since she knows about Salil's visit to the store, and about the book she borrowed, this girl must be close to her in some way. Her faded Phoenix High uniform makes it apparent that she's not a new student there. She must know something about Salil's situation, or she wouldn't have chosen to show up. But this isn't the time for me to lay out all my cards on the table. Well, as you can see, this place is rather small and a little messy. Still, Hermitage values each and every one of its customers. I did later put on a very more serious face. I'm afraid I can't discuss my customers' private matters, especially with a guest whose name I don't know. The girl looks surprised, as if she wasn't prepared for such a direct statement.
I'm Elise, Salil's friend. I'm the president of the art club she's in. I'm sorry, I was so focused on this one thing I completely forgot to introduce myself. My apologies.
She borrows slightly and hands me her student ID card. She's doing this to remove any doubts about her identity. Very polite, very thoughtful. A response I wouldn't have expected from a student. A bit too much, maybe. Elise, is it? What an introduction. Muzzle Baron to answering some questions. I'd like to find out more about her. Salil mentions her frequently that my interest is piqued. Not only that, but she plays an important role in Salil's hallucinations, and it's not connected to it all. Salil is somewhat of a regular customer here, and sometimes talks about school, and I sometimes talk about school with her. I'm sorry for being suspicious. It's just, I take privacy very seriously. I don't want to be rude. Elise looks relieved, and attention fades away.
No worries. I think valuing privacy is a respectable trait.
To answer your question, yes, Salil did purchase the Trail of Missing Fish here. I didn't pay a second thought because she had always shown interest in the folklore. Why is the book so special to you? Is something wrong?
The problem isn't the book itself.
Elise looks troubled.
Actually, there's something wrong with Salil. We used to meet a lot after class. Practice a little here and there.
Art practice?
Our school is very strict, and the standards are very high. She loves to paint, and I wouldn't want to miss any opportunities. I support her.
That's very noble of you. You must take your position seriously.
In the beginning, Salil was so enthusiastic about practice. Actually, she often approached me to plan meetings in advance. But lately, it's as if she's hiding from me. I asked her if there was something on her mind, so that weighing her down, but she wouldn't answer me.
She bows her head and seems lost.
Our school's public image is a very prestigious one. So much so that many of our students are very proud. Salil transferred to school just recently. I'm worried that something or someone might be bothering her, and she's too afraid to say it.
Elise pulls on one of her cuffs and gives me an apprehensive look.
So, I'm not proud of it, but I've been tracing her steps after school to see if she'd helped anything.
That's a very fancy way of saying you're stalking someone. I'm not sure how well you guys know each other, but don't you think following someone around after school is a bit extreme?
I know it's wrong, but I don't know what else to do. Please, don't tell Salil about this, please.
She bows her head again, and really seems to be getting to her. I keep talking in a calm, friendly manner. Don't worry about that. So what's your plan? Are you gonna go door to door to find out where she's been?
Actually, this is the only place that she ever visits. That's what made me think that you might know something.
Now, at least try to be my last questions. Well, I'll start with this. I put on my cigarette and take a deep breath. These two girls really seem to be quite close. This is my golden opportunity to find out more and finally get answers that I've been looking for. I should slip into a certain rule. When two people don't really know much about each other, it's easy to pretend to be someone else. I'm confident there's a lot I can find out if I play this right. There should be a way without her having to say anything. Okay. I need to find the right moment to take a closer look at Elise. Oh god, more tutorial. When it comes to analyzing behavioral patterns, choosing the right approach is essential. I might not get a better chance than this, so I mustn't miss it. Still, asking out of the blue wouldn't be smart. I need to plan carefully. Okay. Since you've been so honest with me, I think I can trust you. Sleuth had her reasons for coming to me. I get up, ready to share my secrets with Elise. Truth be told, before taking over this bookstore, I spent most of my life in the field of clinical psychotherapy.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I no longer have a license. When I was young, I had a dispute with some older gentlemen in the association. They made use of their connections and influence to kick me out and stop me from practicing. I waved my hand a little, a typical, let's not dwell on the past gesture. It's not a complete lie, more like a half lie. I used to work in the field of social sciences.
But how did Salil...
One of my friends probably couldn't keep his mouth shut. Word gets around, Salil hears mentioned somewhere. That's how these things happen. Try to put herself in your shoes. Or yourself in her shoes. It's not something you tell everyone. That would just make people more worried. That should sound believable enough. At least gives me a understanding nod. I breathe a sigh of relief, look around, and deliberately lean forward a little. I'm not going to tell anyone about what you've been doing, but appreciated it if, in exchange, you keep my story secret too. In this case, this is about what's Salil's well-being. We're on the same team. Elise doesn't reply, but lets her eyes wander around the store instead. She takes in the messy piles of books on the edge of the shelves and the old posters I hung up the wall. I'd say the first floor perfectly captures the wayward scholar attributes. And being gloomy isn't exactly something I had to pretend to be.
Okay. Yeah, I promise.
At least nods acknowledgement of our little detail. I decided to strike while the iron is hot. Well, that's good. Anyway. You've already found your way here. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? So far, I've only heard Sill's point of view, so your help would be much appreciated.
Yeah, please ask. If there's any way I can help, I will do.
Hearing Salil's name seems to make her partly energetic. Take out my notebook, quickly flip the page with the most handwriting scribbled on it in order to keep up appearances. I have a lot of questions actually. Let's go through them one by one. What should I ask? I'll do that one last. Probably go 3, 1, 2, 4. What do you think of her? Huh? At least she's baffled and doesn't seem to understand my question. Since you and Salil spent a lot of time together, you probably know each other pretty well. I'd like to hear your opinion of her from you, as a friend. At least nods. She fiddles with a strand of her hair and seems to consider her words carefully.
First off, she's a really kind person. Although she doesn't talk much, she seems always optimistic and sees the best in people. She's very calm and never gets angry. Even though her attitude towards her is as cold as it gets, Salil avoids arguments and trouble and stays quiet.
Even the others are mean to her? She glances at me, and I can see there's a lot in her mind.
On Salil's first day at the club, I could tell.
I'm losing her voice.
On Salil's first day at the club, I could tell that I couldn't be there because I had some chores to take care of. When I got back to the studio, I saw that I've never been picking up the practice materials, so I was supposed to handle that. It was a lot of work, strenuous work, and the materials had treated with care. Since some projects were only half finished, she quietly and carefully put everything in its place.
And so it's yours to handle that?
Yes, that day it was my turn. That's why I even came back from my trip early. There's a lot of risk involved when you let someone new and experienced handle the paintings. It's easy to cause irreparable damage. I mean, it's unjust to give a newbie that job. It's too much responsibility. They did it on purpose, I'm sure of that. There had already been talk about Salil being accepted to the club, and about it being a controversial decision. I hurried to help Salil and told her to finish up. I made it clear that she didn't have to do this, and that it wasn't something the others should make her do. She just shook her head and said it'd be a shame to leave these paintings lying around.
Not sure what else to say.
That's the kind of person Salil is. She makes the best of every situation.
I'll let her continue.
However, she's a little too shy and withdrawn.
At least tone's still concerned.
Although kindness is a virtue, people will consider you an easy target if you never speak up for yourself. She never says anything. The people who bully her never receive just punishment. And by the time she does muster up the courage to say anything, it might be too late for that. She'll never get justice that way. The others will never learn their lesson. Nobody will. Nobody will experience any personal growth. That's the worst possible result.
That's an interesting conclusion.
Sorry, I'm just rambling.
No, I should agree with you here. Iron, but not steel. What? Whatever. So that's only a few things. You're a little older than her, correct?
That's right. I'm in my senior year now.
I see. Then you probably don't know how much about Salil is doing in her classes and what the atmosphere is like there.
That's right, but I do know some things. Her so-called preparation class that aims to attract students by lowering the tuition fee, but has very high expectations and demands rapid progression. I heard that teacher there is very strict.
And the teacher doesn't say anything against anyone from a preparation class who want to join one of the extracurricular clubs as well. Lily smiles bitterly.
Actually, a few people from the preparation classes make up the bulk of club members.
I don't follow.
It's easy to project strength, to make a statement. We can pursue our hobbies even though learning is stressful. I assume you're familiar with that sentiment. Many people even sign up for the club on paper, but you never see them around in person. However, these guidelines aren't clear. And Salil, being a trans student, maybe the teacher just doesn't care.
So, while our classmates are stressed out learning at home, Salil was one of the few who actually participated in club activities. I sigh and shake my head. That explains why men don't get along with Salil.
I know it's not a nice thing to say, but I think many of them have severe issues. It's hard to imagine what the pressure they're under, but it's the reason why many of them have a real short fuse.
How was Sleuth's performance at the art club?
Performance? Well, she has been very familiar with many of the techniques the rest of us were taught at a young age, but she's a quick learner and is doing really well. She has a lot of potential. She's very eager, and I'm sure she has a bright future ahead of her, and she's seizing the right opportunities.
How well does she get along with other club members? At least Browns. This seems to be something she's concerned about.
I wouldn't exactly call it harmonious.
According to what she told me, they want her to leave the club.
Yeah, you could say that, yes. It puts her under a lot of pressure.
Your studio rarely gets new members.
That's true. It's not easy to join. After all, it represents the school to the outside world. There's an image to uphold. The admission process is very strict, even for senior students.
But a transfer student got the spot.
Main departments underwent personal changes, and the new teachers did say that they're planning on making the process a little less demanding. Slil submitted her application and recruitment campaign in September, so she was one of the first chosen under these new, more relaxed guidelines. That could be why the others are so harsh and welcoming towards her.
Elise looks sad when she's talking about the situation.
It's my fault, my failure. I'm the person responsible for relationships between the students, and it's my job to handle differences within the club.
Don't beat yourself up, the situation could have been worse. Slil mentioned an event, a sort of competition called the Yukai Cup. You seem to be taking it very seriously.
It's an art competition sponsored by the Provisional Young Artists Association. Our school always participates. It's somewhat of a tradition. We always score really well too.
Sounds as if it's something very important for the school's image, reputation. Our students first participate.
I mean, not officially. But you're part of the groups that regularly win. You're somewhat forced to keep participating. It's a vanity thing.
Are you in one of these groups? The girl smiles tiredly.
I'd rather not be. The competition between schools is fierce. I'm afraid it's been deemed much too important. They turn into a really serious thing, even though it's supposed to be a really fun event.
So, the adults battle through their kids.
This year the theme suddenly changed from watercolor to oil painting. That doesn't normally happen. Everyone's an edge because of that.
Sounds like it's not easy to be a part of a star club.
We're just trying to uphold the club's reputation. The competition is becoming more and more troublesome every year. There's a limit to everything. At the end of the day, nobody cares what it does to students. They don't care about our feelings. It's all just one big, silly fight for glory. I don't think it's something to be proud of. It's wasted energy.
Elise has very strong opinions, and she stands by them. That's my conclusion after asking her so many questions. She is so calm and composed, and can back up all her arguments with logic. She has a very mature way of thinking, something that's probably uncommon among her peers. Still, this girl, with her perfect posture, good manners, and high intellect, doesn't seem to have many friends. We've been talking for over 2 hours, and she's yet to mention hardly any of the other students by name. Nor can she care so much for Salil. She has somewhat of a protector of a protector's instinct, and just wants to do well. I'm sure from a psychological perspective, trying to maintain order among these students while standing in the crossfire between them and Salil is taking a toll on our students. You've been a real big help.
I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
The girl humbly bows her head. Let's not forget she was stalking Salil, but even so, she has shown nothing but sincerity. Oh my, I've lost track of time. Is that going to be an issue with your school? Elise follows my eyes and looks at the clock as well, but I can't help but smile bitterly once more.
I I guess that's all we can talk about for today. I'll come back some other time. She bows her head and turns around, ready to leave. Things are going really well, but I should make use of that one more time. Say Elise. What is it? Elise stops and looks over my direction. Concerning your and Salil's after-school practice, could you put that on hold for a few days? Huh? For a moment, there's tension in the air again. Elise throws a puzzled look, filled with more than confusion. That might have been a little too direct. I don't want to risk stepping into boundaries. I have to say something. I can't even read half that because it's blocked off by your, random black bars. Is this on having more life experience? No, I don't agree with that one. I like 3 here. It ought to be 1 or 3. Well, I feel like with 1 here, she'd feel like this is helping with her mental state. I don't know. I think I like 3 here. So I'll go 3. Don't get me wrong. I just think that there's been a lot of pressure recently. Think better for you to have talked instead of practicing all the time. I feel just as if she's in a bad place. I'm sure she could use someone who wants to listen to her. I see. If you think it's a good idea, then sure. I'm not sure she'll agree to it, though. Oh, why's that? I'm just not sure if she's still even interested in hanging out with me. You said it yourself. We've been under a lot of pressure lately. I had the same thoughts last Tuesday, too, but still didn't have time to meet up with me. She said she had other things to do and was busy. That struck me as strange, and then I found out she was alone in the studio. I had no idea what she was doing there. It must be hard for you, too. Everyone goes through tough times, right? The whole thing's just weird to me. As her senior friend, she should be able to share her problems with me. I just want to help her. I give an understanding nod. Please, take good care of her. Elise nods once more and smiles at me, and then leaves the store. I let out a sigh of relief. It's difficult to reason with people who are really concerned about something. There's a word for that. I can't recall the term for it right now. Enough of this. I turn off the lights again. Let me see, what else? I'm back on the second floor and there's finally a chance to make use of what Scarlet managed to find out. It's pretty crazy to see how quickly social media platforms changed and how advanced advanced over the past few years. The student Scarlet found out used the same name on multiple platforms. She must have conducted some preliminary research using search engines to find that out. However, things aren't looking good. There's a personal blog, but it's been updated in ages, and was most likely abandoned some time ago. It's hard to find any written material by the student, even forums where some trace has been left. I think I'm missing now. Welcome to the Web 2.0 era, where social media platforms advance at an incredibly rapid pace. Not everyone is quick to adapt to these system changes. The student tweets are very infrequent and random, make people feel awkward using certain platforms first, and the limited word count is an additional obstacle. That might explain it. People look for alternatives, often make a switch to platforms with more personalized touch. They find another message board. Still have an idea. Tumblr. Jesus. Tumblr is one example of this so-called light blog platform that have emerged over the past few years. Yeah, Tumblr's a recent thing apparently.
isn't used a lot in this country, but several local companies claim to be good enough to keep up with it. Let's see just how good they are. Enter name at the end of the URL, bingo. Color Spain's Dirk at the page. As a member of our club, she ended up picking up a site that's hugely popular among designers and artists. Users site upload their artwork, and she's no exception. Her basic skills are solid, although not amazing. At least that's the first impression as an amateur. I'm not here to appreciate art. I'm here to open up her updates since January and start browsing them one by one. January 15th, today's practice. Compared to the previous few days, my thoughts are a lot clearer now. There's a lot of room for improvement in the front and background layers, as well as in the overall composition. That said, I don't know how to improve it exactly. The last time I touched watercolors, I was as a junior. Never was really any good at it. I guess I was okay. Did my best anyways. Very first, the finished piece from last practice session. Even after careful matching colors, there's some obvious flaws. The representative one, that's the lunar say. Although the results had not been announced yet, she is already preparing to celebrate in the studio. I don't know how to feel. Although I wasn't arrogant enough to think I could outright win, her painting wasn't win material either. The atmosphere in the club was very unpleasant, and the teacher seemed to go out of his way to avoid getting involved. I wrote tomorrow bring. March 17th. Sorry for no updates last 2 months. The club has been quite a mess recently, and we had much fewer classes than usual. There was an intense argument between 2 club members, but the rest were too afraid to intervene. At the end of the day, both of them were equally responsible for what happened. One of those of you who want to know what I'm talking about, please don't comment on it below. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, don't, okay. Next time I'll probably show you some random stuff I'm working on. April 20th, just the illustration this time. What do you think is a good name for this piece? Lost piled up. When I look at it, but I can't help but feel kind of proud of myself. I don't know if I'll continue painting. Hey guys, manage to keep yourselves motivated. If they lose this spark, it's become more of annoyance than smile of doing. May 7th. 2 sketches. Sure enough, a hard pen seems to work better. I received many friend messages about last post. Thank you for your concern. I'm going to keep posting updates. I think it's really gave up on this. I feel motivated again. In fact, it has something to do with changing the art club. The way it happened wasn't the best, but the outcome was unexpectedly good. Maybe that's just how it had to be. By the way, the name Twilight Tea is really great. June 28th, busy with a lot of exam stuff, no updates, just saying hi. One of us still in the club. I guess we didn't realize just how close we were to graduating. Things getting serious. I don't understand how someone quit now. We're all in the same stressful position. I think quitting's gone a week. July 13th, I drew a piece I drew at home. I tried to change the pattern, but I'm not happy with it. I've talked about spatial perspective before, but I don't seem to be very good at it. How on earth do you come up with the scene concept? Can anyone help me out? July 14th, 2 more, that's it. My mood's bad, weather's bad. My eyes returned from the Kambua yet. I don't think she follows me on here, so I'm just asking you. How would you nicely convince someone to come back home? I want to step on your boundaries, but I'm a little pissed off, to be honest. August 21st, 3 composition version. For the first time, I feel like I've mastered it. I've had a lot of private stuff going on, so I didn't really practice at all during the summer vacation. It's nice to be able to get some summer assignments done. Ultimately, the police didn't get involved in the incident in July, but it did take a lot of time and it was exhausting. There's things I really can't discuss. I feel kind of bad a lot to you guys. On a related note, if any of your local friends spot a group of people wearing black, covering their faces, tell them to stay away. They may not intend to hurt you, but if you get too curious, who knows what kind of trouble you can get into. September 2nd, another finished. This type of pain is my strength. My teacher seems to think so as well. I haven't studied Monet much, but it's similar to a style. Space, structure, hierarchy, perspective. It's all the same problem, really. After you've mastered the different perspectives, your understanding of the scene's environment improves immediately. I'll try the Battle of Troy next, while the mindset is still fresh in my head. I still miss that smell. Should I try it again? Don't think the logic applies to the last painting. I don't think it's supposed to make sense. She didn't mention names, but there's only a handful of people who could have gotten her so riled up. That's true, I'll regard statements. Know what I know now, we should have prepared more thoroughly before investigating school. It doesn't make a lot of sense to think about the past now, it's important to figure out how to proceed. I should go over everything in Scarlet tomorrow. That's all I can find out for now, until I get back to my regular job. Huh? Oh, Salil.
Hi, I finished reading Trail of the Missing Fish. I'll return tomorrow, okay?
Of course, anytime.
Thanks, see you soon.
Have you gathered anything new from reading it?
Sadly not. Haven't made any progress. Main descriptions of the book do not match up, but it doesn't change the fact that it's all based on hearsay. There are often different explanations for the same thing. If you pinpoint the fishing village exact location, shouldn't that be the confirmation you're looking for? I tried to find it on my phone maps app, but I couldn't find a place in the south with that name. The location given by the author is much too vague. It's pretty common for small fishing villages to just slowly disappear over time, especially with more and more people moving to bigger cities. I probably got my hopes up too much, thinking this book would help me. I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused you.
Did you find anything else out the last 2 days?
It's hard to find out more about at school. Classes are going on as usual. It's midterms, and the teachers are nervous.
We don't have a lot of free time. Do you have any more strange dreams or visions?
No, I haven't used any incense the last 2 days.
Smart decision. By the way, I've heard from Elise.
She came to see me today, but I went to the dorm room and told her I wasn't feeling well.
How'd she react to that?
She didn't seem taken aback by it, but she went home really early today. She usually stays a little longer to clean up, and even cleans up after everyone else.
Maybe something unexpected happened? It's probably nothing. It's just a guess. Have been any new developments in the art club past 2 days?
No, nothing's changed. We start to prepare for the competition next semester. The atmosphere is tense, and mountains of materials are already piling up.
That's an exaggeration, right? I recall paint and canvas being very expensive.
Yeah, you're right, but the supplies were all needed and paid for by the school.
Wow, that school lives up to its reputation. They're really serious if they're backing this project so much money.
They didn't want me to take part at the project at first, but at least stood up for me, and the others eventually managed to agree to it.
That sounds tough. So, that's how it is.
I'm a little hesitant to ask, but have you made progress today?
I did some research, yes. I haven't come to any conclusion yet, though. We can't force anything. Some things just take time.
You're right. Even if I asked Elise directly, she'd probably just joke around.
I still don't feel comfortable about this incense you've been telling me about. You can try to get your hands on a little more of this lilac grass. If you're careful about it, we might be able to avoid making things worse, at least. Since I can't do it myself, I'll find a way to make the ingredients and since I can't do it myself, I'll find a way to get someone to analyze the ingredients. I'll do my best. Anything caused hallucinations is dangerous. This intense is dangerous. No exceptions. Even if police ask you, don't make any rash decisions. At least, wait until I've done my part of the investigation, okay?
Yeah, understood.
Why keep your back and forth between two melodies? The queen did not like stand up particular time. Changing it back is optional, I guess. Alright. Anything new here? Not really. Alright. Alright, so that's gonna do it for this episode of Hermitage here. Yeah. We are still a long way to go from being remotely able to solve this case. And this is gonna be an extremely long game, from the sounds of it. Which isn't a bad thing, but... let's do this. Alright, but yeah, that's gonna do it here. Yeah, until next time, peace.